Enter the long box of the damned 2020 bumper contest, if you dare. Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. No trucker outfit today. Long story I'll get into another episode. For this one, though, it's once again time to revisit Ulysses Solomon Archer, aka US-1. Previously on the last US-1 review! After our heroes had a battle with the whip-wielding Midnight that ended in the destruction of her motorcycle, Taryn O'Connell arrived at the truck stop in bad shape. Exacerbated by the waitress Mary supposedly discovering Midnight's outfit in her truck, the crew wonder if maybe she's Midnight. They chase her out like a bunch of assholes, and while she manages to evade them for a bit, an explosion may have killed her. And the real Midnight shows up to reveal that indeed Taryn was not her. Also, while the Highwayman does indeed have plans for US-1, we learn that there's a power even greater than him watching and plotting. So let's dig into US-1 number 9 and close out the 3/4 mark for this amazing series.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he's a man punch, wears a birdie hat. Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where'd he purchase that? Linkara, coins, robots, Amazons and trucks. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
'Cause we got little convoy rocking through the night. Yeah, we got little convoy.
The cover is not terrible, with washed out colors on everything that give it a very painted look, but the whole thing falls apart due to Midnight's hair and the color scheme for her. It's like she's too saturated for the rest of the cover, and her hair is just like a smear of black paint. At last, the secret of Midnight! Learn how she keeps her boobs inside of that jacket when not wearing a bra! The answer is not double-sided tape. We open where we left off last time, Midnight's arrival in front of our heroes at the short-stop truck stop. We also get our title of the issue, Big Mac Attack. Stay tuned for the sequel, Return of the Arch Deluxe. Midnight? No, it can't be! Oh, but it can, lover. And I have clearly been riding my motorcycle for too long, hence why my hand is on my ass like this. Also, I just noticed this, but I think her whip handle might actually be meant to resemble a gasoline pump handle? You thought Taryn O'Connell was Midnight, the mystery woman who's been trying to kill you. But it was me, Dio! She claims that each of them has to now live with the knowledge that they're responsible for her death, naming the four specifically, a fact that US notes. When some of the patrons of the truck stop come out to investigate what's going on, and probably wondering whether anybody works there or not, our brave hero shoves the civilians into Midnight, all of them heading into the oil slick that was launched in the previous issue. Naturally, the two nameless truckers are pissed at US, but end up hitting each other as they try to attack him. Come on, retread, we'd better get in there and help US. And immediately Papa Wheelie is shoved into the oil slick as well. I would love if this entire issue was just gradually more and more people getting into an ever larger pileup in the oil slick, like some kind of weird trucker version of Katamari Damacy. Midnight tries to use the distraction to hypno-whip people, but she slips, and instead the whip hits Taryn's body. And indeed, the power that surges through the powerful hypno-whip sends energy coruscating through the seemingly lifeless form of Taryn O'Connell, with startling results. Is her head turning into a potato? Wideload goes over and confirms that she's alive, which... I've kind of been operating under the assumption that she was always alive and just unconscious. If she really did die at the end of the last issue, the four really are partially to blame for her death, and that's kind of messed up. Still, at least she's alive again.
I think it's very nice of you to give that dead woman another chance.
Anyway, before Taryn can start acting like a zombie, Midnight declares that she'll use the whip to kill her again. But US gets out of the oil slick and between the two. He says he'll stop her with his truck. When the highwayman forced me and my brother off a cliff, Jeff was never found and was presumed dead. Me? I had my skull crushed. I'm actually like one of those action figures with a rubber squishy head. The doctors managed to save me by replacing part of my head with a metal alloy plate. Early on, I learned I could pick up CB radio casts on it. Also, weird broadcasts from a place called Night Vale, but nobody seems to talk about them anymore. But recently, when your Hypno Whip sent a charge through it, my CB skull gained the power to send mental orders to the remote control unit in my truck.
There is logic in what he says.
And thus he does so, sending his truck after her while he was talking. We cut over to the owners of the realty company of Clutch, Grab, and Legreed, of the Boston Legreeds, no doubt, whom last issue we learned were trying to take the truck stop because some condominium developers wanted the land and figured they could earn a tidy profit by selling it to them. Probably an easy thing to accomplish when said land is in the middle of the desert and is, you know, a terrible spot for luxury condos. They're on a lonely stretch of highway to meet with someone that'll assist them in getting the truck stop. And it's Baron von Blimp, who Sig Heils at them. And that's more than a little weird, since the Baron always more resembled a World War I era German naval admiral, or even Paul von Hindenburg, the guy in charge of Germany right before Hitler.
Have no fear. I will see to it that this shortstop is closed. Permanently.
Now that I think about it, it is kind of sad for him that he's this larger-than-life supervillain with a friggin' Zeppelin, and he's just being hired out for a job you'd see the A-Team foiling. He mentions how US-1 humiliating him in that chicken transporting contest a while ago has encouraged him to take part in this scheme. Well, that and the cash. The money is always a good motivating factor when your primary means of transportation is a large, slow aircraft. The three executives insist on coming along to observe him in action, and he reluctantly agrees. And it seems the highwayman is watching this. Ah, so the Baron has managed to find himself some sponsors who will pay him to perform the very task I have already set him. He's a crafty and greedy man. Hey, if you can get paid twice for doing the same job, that just seems like a sound business strategy, not even necessarily greedy. The Baron little realizes that I keep a constant watch on my allies as well as my foes. If he should ever dare to oppose me, I would know instantly. Isn't that right, weird giant sex toy hanging in the middle of the room? You're the only one I can talk to. I love how the highwayman just has this massive lair with specific cameras somehow installed that constantly record every single person involved in stuff going on. I mean, that's the best case scenario. The worst is that these are all just random posters he has hung up on his walls. Anyway, he decides that if the Baron's plan fails, it'll be time for him to personally become involved in dealing with US-1. However, as we discovered last time, the highwayman himself is being spied on. And we soon see who it is who's observing him. The friggin' alien from issue 5. Looks like all my planning and manipulation is finally bringing things to a head. We joke all the damn time about aliens secretly being behind nefarious schemes, and yet here we are. The whole confrontation between US and the highwayman has dragged on entirely too long. Not really. For an 80s comic, this sort of storytelling engine usually lasts a while before resolution. Pacing has been fine in that regard. Also, this does make me wonder about what happened in issue 5. Did the alien spaceship really run on raw chicken parts, or was that just a clever ruse? Also, I want you to consider the fact that a truck-driving superhero who has a metal plate in his skull that allows him to remote control his possibly living truck is facing off against a Zeppelin pilot hired by realtors and a demonic trucker who, in turn, is being manipulated by aliens for some other scheme.
Is this the human condition of madness, leader? It is.
We also see that the alien is not alone this time, being part of a large fleet orbiting Well, possibly Earth, but man, it's really purple today if that's the case. Anyway, back to our heroes against Midnight. To try to break US's concentration on piloting the truck, she uses her whip to mind control Papa Wheelie, Retread, and Wide Load. However, when the truck nearly hits her, Terran gets up and attacks. It's nice when being dead is just something you can walk off. They struggle, with Midnight losing the whip and Terran even biting her arm. She summons the mind-controlled heroes to retrieve her whip, but then 2 more people come out of the diner. Man, it's impossible to get service in this dive.
I'll say, and I heard it was a great place to chow down.
What happened to the other 2 guys? Are they still fighting in the oil? And how many people have been waiting in there for their damn omelets and haven't noticed everything going on outside? When the 3 hypnotized heroes try to get past the 2 to obtain the whip, it becomes clear that another fight is going to break out. Instead, we cut back over to the Baron as he extols over the virtues of dirigibles. However, they just want to know how it'll help them force the shortstop to forfeit on their mortgage. They're shocked when he reveals what it is he'll be using. And we soon find out for ourselves as the blimp arrives over the truck stop, releasing a squadron of Nazis! Did the creators not know the difference between World War I and II Germans?
Right, where's Captain America when you need him?
Sending the Nazis out if Secret Empire is any indication. Where was US-1 during Secret Empire? The Baron's plan is to do so much damage to the truck stop and the trucks in the lot that it'll discourage people from using the facilities, forcing their business to fail along with a bunch of insurance claims for the damage, and they'll become destitute and end their mortgage payments.
Okay, that should work, but why Nazis? Actually, I'm not even German myself, but I always thought they had the best looking uniforms. Don't you agree?
I feel like I used the Silver Nemesis clip too soon. So, yeah, as you can see, the brawl has expanded a bit so that now we've got Nazis getting their asses kicked. That automatically makes it like a million times cooler just by that inclusion, though apparently the letterer screwed up in one bit here, as a Nazi punches a guy through a window while proclaiming, "Take that, Zig Heiler!" as if the Nazi himself was confused about whose side he was on. Anyway, the hypnotized heroes converge on US, who's trying to use the whip to deactivate the mind control. Eventually, as he concentrates hard on it, a bolt of energy emerges from the CB radio skull and enters the whip. Somehow, this paralyzes everyone except his friends, who are now freed from its power. He cracked its secret. Cracked the whip. The secret is that you need a metal plate in your head before you can use it properly? Terran goes over to Midnight and pulls off her mask and wig, revealing Granny Goodness! No, it's in fact Mary McGrill, the waitress and rival love interest for US. Terran's ready to kick her ass for this, demanding an explanation, but US doesn't think she's even aware of what she's been doing. His mental link with the whip indicates that Mary has been under the control of the whip, not the other way around. And so our comic ends with them wondering who it could be that did such a thing. And the person responsible reveals himself. The Highwayman, now finally ready for a direct showdown with our heroes. And I guess the Nazis and truck stop patrons are just still frozen there watching all this and wondering what the hell is going on. This comic is incredible, as is this series. Startling revelations, a bonkers plot involving a string of people under various forms of mind control, aliens, lots of people brawling, and of course, random Nazis getting beaten up. This series is just fun. Despite some head-tilting moments in regards to Baron von Blimp or a few other details, the book is just so enjoyably goofy that I could never hate it. I'm gonna miss this series once it's finally over. Next time, we take a trip to the one thing not included in this comic that otherwise throws everything else in here with a visit to Robot World, alongside Spider-Man.
I'm sitting on my couch reviewing comics, the worst birds that you will ever see. It's sad that
You've beaten my agents for the last time, U.S. Archer. Now you must face me, the Master, the Highwayman. Fear my Spirit Halloween Dracula cape.
Hello, my friends. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching.